We are back, about to jump into Champion Select. We see Nofe and Stake pacing around. Stake came up triumphant in the last game, Bliss, and he'll hope to pick a draft that's going to lead RW to a 2-0 win.
That was a spectacular game one from the team of Rogue Warriors, and we do see Edward Gaming transitioning into an entirely different strategy from the previous one. So Kog'Maw is going to be taken out, despite the fact they do have first pick. They do not seem ready enough to go for it, but they take it away because it was the sole answer to the range advantage Caitlyn possesses.
So, of all the champions were in the last game, Kog'Maw is the only one that gets banned away, and it leads to an immediate Caitlyn lock-in for iBoy. He didn't pick up the win in the last game, going 0-1-0 on Caitlyn.
When you get the most powerful early game pick and you get answered with the most powerful late game pick, you know you're playing on a ticking clock. If you don't get your results as fast as possible, you're slowly losing on time.
And EDG certainly didn't get that result in the last game, even going behind in that lane. Tahm Kench has now been locked in by the Rogue Warriors, and it's possibly going to be paired with this Varus. We saw Tahm Kench protecting brilliantly in the last game. Can Kahlua do the same again?
Oh wait, actually Zoe is also available, so I'm not really sure if they're gonna lock it. Zoe is available, they should definitely check it out, because, you know, like, Braum is the biggest answer to Zoe, and since the Tahm Kench is locked for Rogue Warriors, they could actually go for it. Yeah, there it is.
So
it makes so much sense. And on the same note, Varus is a very similar ADC to Kog'Maw. When it comes to laning, he's really good against Caitlyn, and he also plays a very similar damage output into those team fights.
Bliss, you're playing Prophet there. The second that Varus gets locked in for SMLZ, we see the Zoe pickup. And now with the potential of the Braum pickup as well, it's not actually going to be that. We see Sion locked in, and this is going to be a second Sion game in a row that we see, except this time Ray has it instead of Mouse.
Wow, that's a series of insta-locking, so let's go at it. Zoe is really powerful on 8.2, so we should expect a lot from Scout coming out. Sion also the most powerful top laner in my eyes right now, so it makes sense to get it right before it gets banned. And the Malzahar is the answer to Zoe 100% of the time, maybe 99% since Veigar has become a little bit more popular lately, but I definitely agree with most of the moves from both teams.
Bliss, as we move into the ban phase, we see that neither team has a jungler, and straight away two of the top tier junglers are removed from the game. Lee Sin and Sejuani will not be appearing on the Rift, neither will Braum, because that one has been taken away from Mako.
Edward Gaming have been insisting on that Lee Sin, and when you're 0-0 it's fine, but when you're a loss behind, you should definitely think about wasting your last ban like that. So Braum and Sejuani really make it obvious that Rogue Warriors want to deprive Edward Gaming of that heavy crowd control champions.
A third top tier jungler gets banned away, Bliss. Jarvan will not be seen on the Rift in this second game. We saw Haro take it in the last game. He actually was half of his team's deaths on a 0-4-0 J4 Warrior Enchant game. Not going to see that in this game. What we are going to see, however, is the Jax lock-in, and that could be flexed between top and jungle.
That's the power of Jax right here, because you actually have to blind pick without giving a certain counter pick to Edward Gaming. So what they have to do is basically either counter pick Jax into the jungle or be ready to face it with Sion on top lane, which is of course really, really fine. Zac, I really love Zac against Malzahar because it's so easy to catch him out of position, so easy to outplay him with his own Voidlings. And on top of that, Varus can also be punished very, very easily when Tahm Kench is not so close.
Bliss, this is a very, very different team composition in the mid lane, top lane, and jungle for the side of EDG, but it looks like we're about to see a lock-in that's going to mean that their bot lane duo is exactly the same as their last defeat.
Janna Kate again, if they're lucky, yeah, there it is. So I am expecting yet another Doransil to come here from SMLZ. It paid off before, it will pay off again. But with Tahm Kench and a hyper carry that is not going to get poked under tower, they do need a punishing top laner. They need something that can abuse Sion and really take advantage of junglers not showing up on top lane. I would say either Gnar or Cho'Gath. But yeah,
Well,
there it is.
You will get your Cho'Gath Bliss. Whether we see that in the top lane or the jungle isn't confirmed yet, but I expect it to be played by Mouse. We are now counting the seconds down until both these teams jump onto the Rift. Rogue Warriors looking to get themselves up to 6-2 in the Group B standings, while Edward Gaming will be pursuing their 7th victory of the season, which would take them even further ahead of Snakes Esports and Billy Gaming.
So a lot of heavy late game from Rogue Warriors yet again. Edward Gaming looking to snowball with the Caitlyn and Zoe picks. Of course, combined with Sion and Zac, it looks really good. Basically the same win condition as before, but possibly in a much more interesting style.
And there we have the teams on stage, the champion emblems above their heads. They are looking to pick up this game in the best of 3 series. Edward Gaming desperately hoping it's going to be a best of 3. The Rogue Warrior fans, however, will be cheering on a 2-0.
I have to say, Rogue Warriors tried that before and it worked. Right here, a Cosmo ban is the intention of Edward Gaming to throw off Rogue Warriors off their strategy. Let's see, is it going to be enough? Or is Varus a substitution good enough to give them the same results?
We will certainly find out. We've had the Varus substitution. We've seen now that we're going to have Mouse playing Cho'Gath instead of Sion. Just how much difference do those 2 different picks make to their team composition?
Basically, right here, they're both front lines with lots of crowd control, but I would give Cho'Gath an extra advantage just because he's able to cancel the knockup from Sion, and also because he can keep stacking that Grasp of the Undying into the laning phase, providing him with more HP in the end game.
Alrighty, there we have the lineups for the team. We're going to see Ray on Sion in this game. He's going to hope to be a lot more effective than he was on Gangplank in the last. There we see the LPL crowd. They're fascinated by the series we have brewing. And we're going to hear their cheers as we step onto the Rift.
Nice looking goggle.
The mustachioed walrus shopkeeper, one of my favourite characters on the Rift.
You know, one of my favorite times in League of Legends history, when was the URF loading screen had that, how was it called, that beautiful song with, was it Arurf?
I think I know the one you mean, yeah.
Yeah, with a spatula,
yep.
the Earth holding the spatula.
Yeah, spatula, yeah.
That was like my favorite soundtrack of all times, and every time I see an Earth, I just go back to the good old days.
There's your favourite soundtrack of all times, Bliss. But how about your favourite dragon of all times? We're going to get an Infernal first in this game, and I'm just wondering which team that favours.
Let's see. First of all, which team can take it easier is a question. For obvious reasons, we're going to give it to Edward Gaming because they have the early game power spikes. They are stronger in the early game, so we are expecting them to shove both mid and bot lane a little bit more. Actually, I take that back for mid lane. But providing either team can take it, I would say the better ratios from AD and AP lie with Rogue Warriors. They're less frontline based, so they're not really relying on HP, they're relying on bare stats as AP and AD.
Okay, Bliss, let's see if the side of EDG can do a slightly better job of controlling those neutral objectives than they did in the last game. 2 Mountain Drakes went begging before losing Heralds, Barons, and Elder Dragons galore. In this game, they're going to be hoping that Harrow is able to pick up a few neutral objectives to help them along their paths and to deny those crucial statistics from the Rogue Warrior team.
Since it's early into the game, I'd love to contradict you right here and say that the best possible early game spawn of a dragon is probably definitely not Cloud. It's probably Ocean, because the sustain it provides to every laner can actually make losing matchups come ahead. Oh,
Harrow finds Flawless in his jungle. The smite is good from Flawless, however, and he hops to Gromp, who will put a bit of damage down onto the Jax, but he's not going to bleed out just yet, and that is going to be a failed invade from Harrow in the end.
I wouldn't say failed one, because right here he gains a lot of information and a lot of space into the lower side of the map, and most importantly, he's gonna force Flawless to recall with double buff on him. That's a lot of buff duration being wasted, and they know exactly which side of the map he's gonna be on his return.
I completely agree with you, Bliss, and I humbly eat my words. It was nice plays coming out of Harrow, and it does indeed delay Jax quite significantly. And now Harrow has the opportunity to jump in on Doinb, get the flash. Here's the nice use of the stretching strike. Zac is going forward. The sleepy trouble bubble puts Doinb in all sorts of trouble. He's not quite going to burn down to the Zoe, but a beautifully executed gank from Harrow.
It was really good. Right here, they burned the flash and oh, Flawless.
Speaking of burnt flashes, Mako has already had to burn his flash. Here comes Flawless. Counter strike is there. He gets the stun from the flash. Mako is going to go down for first blood to Varus. iBoy has to burn his flash on Caitlyn just to survive. And first blood is in the pocket of Rogue Warriors.
And that Caitlyn flash burn from iBoy was really on Flawless. That double counter-strike was something they did not expect. They knew Mako was dead right off the bat. But burning iBoy's flash, that's the cherry. That's what makes a good gank excellent.
And it makes the escape that Doinb had just seconds before even more crucial, because all that extra gold is in Varus' pocket, as at the 4-minute mark he recalls and gets himself a pickaxe.
I just love it. Right here, you do see Flawless getting a lot of pressure onto himself, like Edward Gaming choose to apply pressure in the jungle. And it's the jungle from Rogue Warriors that sews up and creates trouble in return for Edward Gaming.
There was indeed trouble, you could call it double. There was no sleepy bubble. And in the end, it was the side of Rogue Warriors who came up big in that situation. Despite all the early proactive plays Harrow had made, he was not able to help get his team that first blood. And now it's going to be on the side of EDG to look for another opening to try and get themselves ahead in this second game of the series.
Also, I love their decision to just go and just hate Edward Gaming where they hurt. They know their win condition is heavily around Caitlyn. She needs to snowball macro-wise. She needs to get those early objectives and apply the pressure early. So losing here level 4 and level 5 power spikes just like that is gonna hurt, because right now she has no way to shove without her flash.
On the plus side for iBoy, despite losing her support in that last trade, she is keeping herself just ahead of the Varus. 5 CS is the lead at the minute, but like you say, that flash is gone. It's going to be that much harder for iBoy to stay safe in these trades.
Usually you would see some of the most experienced players in the past, like Forgiven, when they lost their flash early as a result of camp, they would not go for the BF sword, they would go for the pickaxe and boots instead to compensate for that. But oh, Doinb.
Here we go, second gank on to the mid lane from Harrow, but the counter gank from Flawless is nearly flawless. They're looking for the kill onto the globules of Zac. The damage is not going to come through from Scout in time to save his jungler, now having to flash away. That was not how things were meant to go for EDG as Harrow tried to jump into the mid lane.
I can already imagine what's happening in Edward Gaming's voice chat, because right there Doinb applied his Nether Grasp with almost 0 mana. So when they thought he has not enough mana to apply that heavy suppress, it actually comes out and surprises Harrow so much he gives away a free kill and his passive.
And Flawless, just purely by being present, forces iBoy and Mako way back in lane. No further advantages to be gained. And you're absolutely right, that was not an ideal situation for the side of EDG to find themselves in, despite the early use of Nether Grasp.
And funnily enough, right here, both Ray and Mouse have been hand to hand. They've been fighting fearlessly because they know there's absolutely no way jungler is gonna show up top, and if he does, it's gonna cost the other team an Infernal Drake. So they know it's an island, they know it's a one-on-one, and they're gonna do whatever it takes to get that advantage on the laning phase.
Here we go, Harrow stood on top of a ward, so he's not going to be able to catch out the side of Rogue Warriors. Is there going to be some early attention paid towards this Infernal Dragon? Certainly we see a few members of EDG hovering in that area, but certainly don't think they're going to be starting anything up just yet.
Oh, they're zoning them away. He's going to be fine. Want to hear a joke?
Always, absolutely always.
What did Harrow say in the Tribrush?
Go on.
Harrow! It's terrible, I know. I had to say it.
Wow. Just wow. Bliss, have I ever told you?
The word,
have I ever told you how much I love casting with you?
Sometimes I feel like it's like sarcasm, but in the end, I just see you and Cam and I know, like, you mean it. He's the one.
You and me all the way. We got this game, even if we haven't maybe quite got the pun standard of Freak just yet. Actually, no, that was exactly the pun standard of Freak.
It was more like of a bad joke. Freak mode too, but yeah. In the end, it's always nice to have a small break from all the competitive tension.
It certainly is, and the tension is very much in the air. You can cut it with a knife at the moment between this EDG and RW teams, and with there being a 1,300 gold lead for the side of Rogue Warriors this early on, and having the scaling potential that they have in this Varus, they're going to be the ones who are feeling slightly less pressure than EDG, who are a game behind.
It's time for me to talk about the Quicksilver shots that we do see on Scout, because we are talking about a heavy early game snowbally team picked up by Edward Gaming, and when you're playing on the back of that, when you're more focused onto being safe and not losing by building up defenses and not into snowballing your lead or your early advantages, that's really something we do not see paying off quite often. So I don't really know what Scout has in mind, but hopefully he's prepared for what's coming next.
We will see. In the end, it was Harrow who really needed that Quicksilver sash in the last fight that we saw breaking out in the mid lane. Scout's going to be able to use this max range paddle star to pick up a blue buff with a little help from his friendly neighbourhood Flubber. Meanwhile, we see that Jax, who has got himself a little bit of a jungle camp lead over the Zac, is going to be trying to invade Zac, pick up a little bit of the EDG's jungle, all for himself.
He does that without vision. Just haven't noted that. Oh no, he took it. He entered the lower jungle of Edward Gaming without knowing where Harrow is. So he's pretty confident into beating him when it comes to meeting him in his own jungle. And right here, while he steals the Raptors, they instantly go for the Infernal Drake, guessing how far away Harrow is.
And it looks like it's going to work out. Harrow has not got any vision on this. He's got vision now, and he is too late to use the Blast Cone to jump in and steal away an Infernal. That goes over to Rogue Warriors, the team that you said, Bliss, would benefit most from the Infernal buff.
Good guesswork from Rogue Warriors, because they knew they're gonna have to take some mini risk right there. They knew Harrow could possibly steal it. They were not sure which quadrant of the jungle Harrow was, but in the end they take the Infernal Drake, and the next one is an Infernal one too.
It was good decision making there, but maybe just the slightest element of luck coming in as well, because that was probably a split second or so before we could have seen Harrow jumping in using the Blast Cone and having a flash to escape. Now we see the Chains of Corruption onto iBoy. He's getting himself out, using that cleanse to stop the stun. iBoy trying to get away, but he's got the exhaust. The Monsoon used by Mako to get his ADC to safety, and in the end, Janna plays this one beautifully. iBoy gets away, does have to burn both cleanse and flash though. Flawless still present in the jungle.
Pretty easy when you expect it, but still very, very effective. Right there, Mako and iBoy do not get their tower first blood, but they burn the flash of SMLZ and they spot where Flawless is. So right here, the entire team of Edward Gaming can rotate accordingly and make decisions according to where Flawless is.
Let's see what those rotations mean, because you were saying how Edward Gaming didn't quite get the turret first blood. Well, they're exceptionally close to picking it up here in the bot lane. Is there any way Rogue Warriors can stop that first turret blood gold from going into the pockets of EDG?
They didn't have a way to stop it in the previous game, but they had a way to compensate themselves with it, and I think that's exactly what they plan on. Sleepy Trouble Bubble on top of Malzahar's passive, and Poke is gonna fail, but we are reaching a stalemate of 4 versus 4 on the bot side, which of course is gonna prompt both top laners into looking towards bot.
Stalemate indeed. A teleport was burned by Doing B, but it's only to mean there's this 4-man gang here in the bot lane. Now Zoe and Zac are circling around. EDG could be looking to contest should Rogue Warriors step up too far.
They definitely should take their time. They are not in a rush on getting tower first blood. Of course, in the previous game they lost it too, and it didn't mean a thing. But right here, as much as they delay it, if they deprive it too, it's going to be amazing for the team of Rogue Warriors, on top of the Infernal Dragon they have and the one coming out.
Okay, the pressure is now turning around very, very slightly with the side of Rogue Warriors turning tables on iBoy and Mako. A moment ago we saw Caitlyn and Janna shoving up. Now it is the other way around. And Varus and Tom looking good. Sorry.
Edward Gaming are finding themselves with 0 sustain on bot lane because they went back at lane without any amount of potions. So right here, they're being out-sustained by Killua and SMLZ with a refillable potion and the biscuits. This is going to be Tower First Blood lost by Caitlyn, and it hurts a lot.
4 men come bot again from Rogue Warriors. Recalls come in from iBoy and Mako. First turret blood will indeed go to the Rogue Warriors, who, as a little added bonus, deny a little bit of that CS from the Caitlyn.
So Varus is not really as much as Kog'Maw. I mean, he applies damage in teamfights in a very similar way, but he does have that crowd control that is really punishing and forces iBoy to play cleanse, making Mako an even easier target. But also, he has the ability to out-trade Caitlyn early on, and this has a result of Tower First Blood that definitely hurts.
So, interestingly there, we did see Killua complete his recall on the Tahm Kench while Varus decided to cancel the B. He stays around the turret, just going to be able to try and pick up a little bit of CS as we see iBoy and Mako pushing back in again. No rotations from seeing the Australia lanes just yet.
Second time we do see Mako rush that Ardent Sensor with a Caitlyn. I mean, sure, she really needs those power spikes to make something happen in the early game, but it didn't work once. Like, the Iron Solari was way too much of a help in the previous game. Oh, this is gonna be a steal?
Yep. Yeah. Mouse with the feast.
Jump.
Takes that one away from Zoe. Now Zoe, who is just over 10 CS behind Malzahar at the moment. Talked about the early Quicksilver Sash. Well, what it means is we've now got a completed Morello's on Malzahar, only the pieces of it there in the pocket of Zoe.
This is definitely good for Scout in terms that he's not going to be afraid of getting caught out of position with that Nether Grasp, but he has lost his touch in the early game. He's not really in a position to snowball, he's not in a position to wave clear, and Rogue Warriors know exactly that. They're targeting his own tower, knowing there's nothing he can do alone.
And for the second game in a row, the Rogue Warrior rotations are just that little bit quicker and cleaner than EDG's so far, as they get a decent bit of damage down onto the mid lane turret. We see Mouse is able to put significant damage in the top lane, but Ray wants a fight. He's getting turret shots onto Mouse. He's going to be able to land a knockup. Does Sion have the damage? Harrow is going to be able to join. Mouse flashes away from the knockup, but the stretching strikes will land. Knockup from the Rupture onto both Harrow and Ray, and now we see Flawless joining the party. We're going to have a teleport cancelled from Doinby, and in the end, no one goes down, but it's significant that Mouse, it does not die.
And the amount of HP Mouse has stacked through those 16 minutes is now very, very visible, because he has absolutely no way of dropping that fast, and most importantly, right now, he's not gonna be afraid of a retaliation gank that his flash is off cooldown, because Infernal is up and Edward Gaming cannot really allow that to go down as easily.
Second Infernal is on the Rift, as you have just said, Bliss, and already better vision control from EDG to stop Rogue Warriors being able to take that too early.
Right here, what's next is vision control around the Infernal Drake. We do see already Flawless being there with his Trucker's Knife. He's gonna get spotted, but with the help of the Scrying Flower, he's gonna clear that up, and this looks bad for Edward Gaming. If they pull it out, there's absolutely no way Haru can steal it without sacrificing himself.
Oh, it does look like EDG are going to be looking for potential play, though. They're going to find themselves 4 men strong in the river, while Flawless and Doin are having to back away because the push coming in from Ray in the mid lane has brought a little bit of river priority for EDG.
Edward Gaming needs to keep Rogue Warriors right in the mid lane, because if it comes to a Smite War with a Cho'Gath in their own team, they're not going to have a trouble securing a second Drake. So they need both teams away from that Infernal and delaying it as much as possible. They lose mid lane priority as they do so, and now they're in danger of losing much more than a Dragon.
We have a finely balanced game right now, Bliss, with the every time that a small movement is made by each team, the scales seem to turn from one side to the other right now. It is going to be the Dragon started up by the side of Rogue Warriors. Scout jumps into the pit, checking out what's going down. That is already a very low Infernal. Here comes the jump in. It's too late. Feast from Choker secures the Dragon. Now we're going to see the Chains of Corruption landing onto multiple members of EDG. Where's going to be any potential kills? Flawless not wanting to dive in, having already triggered his ultimate. That will burn out very, very shortly, and he'll lose all of those bonus stats. And it does mean that Rogue Warriors get an Infernal Dragon, but no kills this time.
And yet again, we do witness the mental fortitude of Rogue Warriors. They were stronger in that fight, they could fight and get many advantages off it, but they do not go for it. They take the Infernal Drake and they stay satisfied. They minimize the risk, they retreat, and with the teleport, they keep their tower intact in the mid lane.
This has been one of the most patient performances over 2 games that I've ever seen from a professional League of Legends Team Bliss, and it does feel like Rogue Warriors just want to play this safe, play it by paint by numbers, easily write themselves a victory. It reminds me a little bit of watching the old Evil Geniuses team play.
Wow, I never made that comparison in my head, but it's definitely similar. It's definitely similar. Right here, Rogue Warriors are overwhelming Edward Gaming. It's not just their style, it's the results we do see in the table. They are 5,000 gold ahead in 20 minutes. They have 2 Infernals, 3 Dragons advantage, and all that without even going for the Rift Herald. They got 3 towers without Rift Herald. This is insane.
It is absolutely incredible the way they are working around the map. We talked about this finely balanced game. It just feels like every time there's a crucial objective to be taken, it could go one way or another for a team, it's Rogue Warriors who come out on top, and everything you said in regards to dragons, in regards to turrets, is just an example of how well things are working out for SMLZ and the rest of his team.
I'm becoming a fanboy of Flawless, surely but surely. And right here, let's remember how he received early pressure in his jungle from Harrow. Despite that, he played around Caitlyn, which is the early game leader of Edward Gaming. They have to play around her, and he rendered her obsolete so quick that they didn't touch a single tower. And right now, she's feeling useless.
As we step into the 21st minute of the game, Bliss, the game feels like it is still a lot closer than the last one did. In the last game, with the lack of real tanks that were on the side of Edward Gaming, as they went further and further behind, it felt like they didn't have a way back. Seeing both Ray and Harrow picking up tankier champions than they did in their last performance does make me feel like they can still sustain a little bit later into this game. As we see a fight break out and Mako is just deleted. iBoy is going to be the next to drop. That's 2 kills from Barons out of nowhere. Now we see the attempted escape from Harrow. He used his flash, he used his ult, he gets to safety. An incredible escape from Harrow, but iBoy and Mako were not so lucky.
21 minutes in, this couldn't be timed any better. They're going towards the Baron. There is the Chomp ready for it. Like, they can go for a very easy smite. They know Edward Gaming can do absolutely nothing about it. This is a clean 22-minute Baron pickup.
And there it is, the Feast from Mouse will give him a bonus stack as well, meaning that just everything falls perfectly for the side of Rogue Warriors, who now have a 7,000 gold lead.
Did you happen to check how many stacks of Feast Mouse actually has?
I didn't, but I know he's feasted on a dragon and also... Hold on, here's your fight. Enjoy this.
There it is. Counter-strike into 3 people. Nether Grasp wasted right there because it was such an easy kill. And after the double kill, they forced out the Zac too. With Harrow being so low HP and without his Kidnap being ready, they know this Baron is absolutely uncontested for them.
Still a phenomenal escape from Harrow to be able to use the Let's Bounce and then the flash to escape from all of the CC that was coming down around him, and to not actually take any members of Rogue Warriors with him as he tried to get away. Very, very nice plays from the jungler. Going back to the question about Mouse, he's feasted on Baron, he's feasted on an Infernal Dragon, and I'm sure he'll already have his 6 stacks, so I would guess 8 stacks for Mouse at the moment.
22 minutes in, that's really good for Mouse. Considering the circumstances, they can go diving right here because iBoy, quite frankly, does not quite have the wave clear yet to keep his team from losing towers. And we do see that both on top lane with Doing B, we do see that with SMLZ on the mid lane with the backup of Killua, and quite frankly, Mouse only has to keep Ray away from the team fights.
And it is indeed 8 stacks can now confirm on Mouse as we see yet another engage onto Harrow. He's going to be able to escape this one, not without being popped into his passive. He certainly isn't. There's the stopwatch coming out of Mako, but down goes the Zac, down goes the Janna mid-monsoon. iBoy is only one more hit away from death, but he manages to walk away. Will Sion be as lucky? I'm not sure he will. The undead general is about to find a grey screen that is greyer than the greyest grey heart, and now we're going to see an inner turret falling. Rogue Warriors go where they please, take kills, take turrets. We could be looking at a perfect game.
That's not a Kog'Maw Greyheart. This is a Varus that is very, very useful in the mid game, and Rogue Warriors are not holding themselves back. They're getting everything they can get their hands on. Inhibitor on mid lane can go down 24 minutes in, and it will. And this looks devastating for Edward Gaming.
I do not know what EDG can do to come back from this game. They've just lost so many turrets. They've lost a lot of kills as well on key members, specifically 5 kills now on the Varus, who has Rage Blade, Runans, Rapid Fire Cannon, and look how much Harrow got caught out.
Nether Grasp onto Harrow. They know there's nothing he can do about it. He gets literally liquefied, as we can see, and Mako just flashes back. He uses the heal just to throw them back, but the damage that comes out of SMLZ is that quick, he doesn't get a quick enough reaction.
And there is the 10th stack of the feast for Cho'Gath at 25 minutes. Never mind the Ocean Dragon they got. That's phenomenal.
One every 2.5 minutes. It's beautiful. Fist is being stacked very, very nicely. Frozen Heart is gonna come out too, and we all know that if iBoy's damage output gets decreased like that with a Frozen Heart, then you can't really rely on Scout with Morello, Nomicon, and Liandry to nuke an entire team. He has already invested too much into defense that basically Rogue Warriors are not even afraid of him. Malzahar has his passive, everyone else has Tahm and Tahm is Tahm.
Well, Tahm Kench is indeed Tahm Kench. I can confirm that is very true, Bliss.
True.
And I can also confirm that no matter how much damage Zoe puts out in patch 8.2, it's not going to be enough right now to rip through the defenses that Rogue Warriors will be putting out. I feel like I may have jinxed the side of Rogue Warriors slightly by uttering the words a caster should never say in perfect game. But it feels like we're getting closer and closer to that potentially happening. I, however, don't really want to see it happen. I want to see EDG fight back because we've got these 2 top-tier teams near the top of their respective tables, and I just want to see a third game. But EDG are going to have to fight hard if that's to happen.
Quite frankly, Greyheart, I don't see that happening right here, because plain simply Edward Gaming are being out-damaged, out-tanked, out-rotated, out-visioned, and out-objectified. Because there is no dragon they had their hands on. The 4th one is going to be an Infernal. Like, RNGesus.
Yeah.
This is definitely the worst outcome for Edward Gaming. And Baron buff is going to come again in 2 minutes. This is another easy fist for Mouse.
Well, it feels like EDG are going to have to make believers of you, Bliss, if they want to push themselves further away from the teams who are level on game wins with them. They're only top of that Group A box by merit of having the other team having lost more games. If they drop this game, Snake Esports go dead level with them. iBoy and his crew, they need to make a believer of you. They need to make a believer of our watchers at home. And right now, I think they need to make a believer of themselves a little bit.
I don't think they believe it that much. Right here,
I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah, Edward Gaming could have the perfect turtle for another 30 minutes with a miracle, and they'd still not be able to outdamage a Lady Jax, a Varus, and Malzahar, who has already put them so back in gold deficit. They have already invested enough gold for 2 Quicksilver Sashes, and I think we're gonna see one more if it ever comes down to mid game and late game.
If it comes down to that at all. Well, we're probably into mid game now. We're around about the 28-minute mark as a redemption scratches Mouse's surface. He says, Dude, what are you doing? That didn't even tickle. And he prepares himself a rupture, and unfortunately, because we haven't got Gentleman Cho'Gath, we won't hear any wonderful calls of "up you go" today.
Up you go. But, you know, it's definitely such a snowbally game. You do not feel the impact or actually the delivery of mid-game yet. You haven't seen a single team fight. It's always people getting caught or out-rotated. You haven't seen a 5 versus 5. You haven't seen an objective fight. And right here, like, you know, Edward Gaming has to play for that Baron. They do not have a choice. They either go for that Baron and hope for a smite steal, or they do that.
Chains of Corruption straight onto Ray, who's dropped below half health, has to flash away as we see straight away the top laner of EDG sacrificing most of his health bar just to find out whether this Baron's going down. Now we see the ultimate coming in from Doinby. Meanwhile, the Baron is going lower and lower. The side of RW do pick up the Baron. It's going to be Cho'Gath with a feast. It's going to be another stack. You talk about when are we going to see a team fight. I don't think we've seen a full-on team fight in 2 games, Bliss. We're at the same kill score that we were as the Nexus fell in the last game, and we're still waiting for that big explosion of a team fight.
This is the epitome of competitive league, when both teams realize with 100% certainty who is the strongest one, and the weaker one is always forced into leaving objectives to the other one. They're recognizing their own weakness and they're dodging those fights. Right here,
never grasp onto Scout, the elastic, the Let's Bounce used by Harrow to pull Flawless and Doinby away, but meanwhile Ray is going lower and lower. We know he doesn't have his flash available, and SMLZ trying to make full use of this will get consumed by Kahlua to make sure that there are no headshots coming his way after stepping on the Yordle trap. Meanwhile, the second inhibitor will fall, and the Baron buff empowered Rogue Warriors take yet more away from the map.
They do not dare to actually go for a fight. They know that if they lose a single member, it's going to be the end of the game. They probably recognize their slim chances of coming back, but if there are small chances of coming back, they come with a lot of retreat again and again and again until you see that huge mistake that you need to take advantage of.
We are still waiting for a huge mistake from Rogue Warriors, but an 8-0 turret score, a 7-0 kill score, and the perfect Dragons and Baron pickup so far say that there's a very real possibility that mistake will not come today, Bliss.
I'm really admiring Rogue Warriors at this point, because let's not forget, they do not have a bottom of the standings LPL team against them. Both these teams are at the top of their own groups.
Absolutely.
Rogue Warriors are second.
Yeah, this isn't Top Sports that Edward Gaming are playing against. This is the team who, you know, yeah, I don't quite know what else to say about the way this game has gone, because Rogue Warriors have made it look like they are playing against Top Sports before they got Marin on their side.
We could have a group disparity, as it seems. Like, this is what seems to be the case in this one. Oh, nice trap dodge by SMLZ with a Devour of Kahlua.
For the second game. Oh, here we go. Elastic slingshot in from Harrow. He's looking for a potential Let's Bounce, but he's going so low. He's going to be popped into blob form. Mouse is there. Flashes forward, and he consumes iBoy, and he might have just consumed any hopes that EDG are picking up a win. It's 9 kills to 0 as we see the super minions, Baron empowered, taking down the Nexus turret. It's going to be a perfect game coming out of the Rogue Warriors, who secure the 2-0 win in Week 5, Day 3 of the LPL.
The very first deathless best of 3 we witness in LPL. Edward Gaming, one of the biggest names in LPL, get destroyed by Rogue Warriors.
Absolutely incredible plays, and right at the heart of it all was SMLZ with his deathless performances on both Cogmore and Varus.
I have to say, Rogue Warriors were exemplary macro users in this game. They out-rotated, out-drafted, and outplayed Edward Gaming in every single second of this map. And I have to say, I'm expecting a lot more from Rogue Warriors for the games to come.
The handshakes come through from the teams. EDG, Noble in defeat, but it is Rogue Warriors who stand triumphant, take the bow in front of their cheering fans, and will go back knowing that they are now 7-2 in the standings of Group B.
That was the game between Rogue Warriors and Edward Gaming. And I have to say, Greyheart, that was a very satisfying best of 3.
It certainly was, and I look forward to more of the same next week. It's been an absolute pleasure casting this game with you, Bliss, and I just hope for more high quality action soon.
This was the best of 3, guys, from me and from Greyheart. Have a beautiful, beautiful night.